After now completing two 12-week year plans, I thought that it would be really beneficial to take a step back and think about, okay, what have I learned now? I shared what I had gained from reading this incredible book, in my opinion, and how it just breaks things down and really teaches you how to get things accomplished so much sooner. Instead of setting goals that we want to accomplish over the course of a year, why not accomplish them over the course of 12 weeks? And so that's what this book is all about, breaks down and teaches you. So now that I have gone through two different 12-week year plans, I have a little bit more information and some tips that I want to share with you today. So I actually have 5 tips that I'm going to share with you when it comes to creating and following through with your 12-week year plan. In the event that you have not watched the video that I have previously done, I still think that all of the tips that I shared in that video are so helpful and will be super good. So click the link below in the description box and that video will be there. So you can tune into that and then you can come back and watch this or watch this and then go watch that one. But definitely go check that one out as well. Tip number 1, start more simple than you even think is necessary. So what I mean by that is on the first 12-week year plan that I made, I put 3 goals. And what it came down to, I think it was a mixture of some things, but ultimately I wasn't able to work on all 3 of those goals. And what it kind of did was it ended up making me feel kind of badly at the end of those 12 weeks that I didn't get all the things done that I thought that I would get done, that I wanted to get done. In my current 12-week year plan, I actually put 4 goals on there. So I went from 3 goals that I didn't quite get everything done, and then now 4 goals, and I'm almost to the end of this 12-week year plan, and I'm seeing the same thing happening, that I'm still getting things accomplished. I'm getting little bits of things done, but I am not getting everything done, and I'm certainly not accomplishing all 4 of those goals. So starting with less, I think, is the biggest tip that I want to give you when it comes to this 12-week year plan. The goals that we're setting in this are kind of big goals, like they're big, lofty goals that you would typically set over the course of an entire year, but instead you're condensing that down and you're accomplishing that in just 12 weeks instead of 12 months. So for me, I just got a little overzealous and I said that I was going to achieve these goals, and what ended up happening is I put more on my plate than I was actually ready to work on. And I think that that's a lot of what it came down to. Is it's not that I couldn't have achieved these things, it's just that where I am in my season of life right now, I'm not looking to just work. And so that's my first tip for you, is just to start out a little bit more simple than you might think is necessary. So tip number 2, and this probably won't shock you, but that is to find accountability, and even to take it a step further, but find somebody else who also wants to do a 12-week year plan. So when and you guys don't have to be doing the same goals or working on the same things, but if you are working along a 12-week year plan that aligns, the dates don't even necessarily have to align, but if you know someone else is following this plan, someone else has broken down this big lofty goal or these big lofty goals and are wanting to work diligently towards them week after week over the course of these 12 weeks, you're going to be more likely to stick with it if you know someone else is also working diligently week after week for those same 12 weeks. It's going to just be so much more helpful for you. It's going to hold you more accountable, and you're just going to have somebody else or multiple somebody else's who know exactly what it's like and what you're going through. So definitely recommend finding some accountability and others to complete your 12-week year plan or plans with. And to take this a step further, share the document that you've created, whether you use the template that I've created and shared with you in the description box below. I'm happy for you to click on that and to utilize that template. It's a Google Doc sheet, so you can just go through, edit it however you need to, or you can come up with something on your own. But once you get that completed, send that to your accountability partner. Swap your 12-week plans so that you have each other's to look over, and you could even ask each other like, hey, does this seem to make sense? Am I making too much of a jump from week 1 to week 2? Or, you know, do I have enough in one of my weeks? Or should I add a little bit more in one of my weeks? They may not know all the details and the ins and outs specifically of your goals like you do, but because they are someone that is working on this just like you are, they're going to be more understanding of what it is that you're trying to do and how much you're trying to accomplish in this shorter amount of time. So it would be very beneficial. So share that with each other. And then whenever you are going through those weeks, maybe you set a certain time at the end of the week. The book does recommend that actually, to have like a check-in meeting. Even if it's just a text or a message to somebody or an email to someone that is your accountability partner saying, hey, I crushed week 1, or hey, I really struggled with specifically this task in week 2, but I'm gonna work on it in week 3. So just to hold yourself accountable and to hold each other accountable would be really, really helpful in this. Tip number 3 is to be super specific and clear on exactly what it is you're going to be doing week after week. So as I have mentioned, there's the template below that you can utilize, and it is what I have utilized for my previous 12-week year plans. It allows for you to put your goal in and to bullet point all of the tasks that need to happen week after week. And I have found personally, and I'm sure you can attest to this too, but when we're more detailed and clear on something, we're more likely to achieve it. For example, let's say you have kids. If you tell your kids to go clean their room, that's a big task and they probably are less likely to do it. But if you tell your kids to go in and pick up their laundry or to clean off their desk or to make their bed, that is very specific. So they're gonna be way more likely to actually achieve whatever it is that you've asked them to do because you've been super specific. Same thing goes for our goals. An example for me is one of my 12-week year goals was to work on a website and a blog that I'm wanting to start. And one of the tasks that I had put for week after week on my 12-week year plan was work on website. Well, there's a lot that goes into making a website. So each week when I would come through and I would kind of look at that, that would almost overwhelm me to the point that I'm like, I don't even know what to work on or where to start, that it would easily get pushed off to the point that it just wouldn't get done. If I had been more specific and said, this, on week 1, decide the theme of your website, pick the colors, your brand colors, make a logo, like those things are way more specific, and I would have been way more likely to actually complete them had I been that specific. But because I just said work on website, that was too broad, and I ended up not doing anything with them. So take that and really utilize, be super specific. Now, I know that it's gonna seem like a lot at first. When you're putting this plan together, going through and being super, super detailed, you're gonna be like, well, I don't even know what I'm gonna be doing in week 9 or week 10, so how could I put in those detailed steps, those detailed actions? But I promise you, if you work through that flow, again, referencing the video that I've already shared with you, it's linked in the description box below, but we talked about different ways you can either work backwards or you can start at the beginning and work through your week 1 through week 12. But that is going to be so helpful because if you get it all taken care of now, number 1, the overwhelm of achieving this goal is going to be gone because you're going to be so clear on, you know exactly how you're going to achieve that week after week. Then when you come to each of those weeks, you're going to look at this and have all of these bullet points and know exactly what needs to be done, which is going to be glorious. You're not going to have to think anything about it. You're literally going to pull out your paper if you print it or pull it up on your computer. And you're literally gonna have the detailed tasks that you need to do just in that week, and you don't have to think about anything else. Analysis paralysis is removed, like in my example of work on website. No longer am I like, what does that even mean? But instead it's like, make a logo. Oh, that's very clear. I know exactly what that means. Pick colors for your website. Perfect. I know exactly what that means. Pick a theme for your website. Perfect. Add specific pictures to website. Like all of those things are so specific, I can easily check that box off. But if I say work on website, what does that actually mean? That leaves too much open to chance. So being more specific rather than broad truly is something that I'm gonna be taking with me moving forward in my future 12-week year plans, and I highly recommend that for you as well. Okay, so with that, tip 4 is to be flexible and willing to make changes. So you may be thinking, okay, you just told us to be super specific and super detailed. And I mean that, I truly do. If you go ahead and you take the time to be super specific and detailed with the actions that need to be taken, those can be moved around. You may have one week where, in the example that I've been using with my website, where maybe I end up working on the logo and getting the colors picked and getting the theme done and getting the pictures added. And maybe I had that spread out across a couple of weeks, but instead I got all of that done in week 1. Well, then that means I'm gonna start moving the tasks up from further weeks in the future up to week 2, up to week 3, because now I'm ready to do them because I've already accomplished so much. So being flexible with that is super important. Opposite example of that is I'm about to go on vacation. Probably not gonna get much done during that vacation. That's okay. So I'm gonna be flexible, and anything that I have scheduled during that week, I'm just going to bump into the following week, or I'm gonna look at it and get it done the week prior. So being flexible with the tasks that you've put on this is also really important. This is not something super stringent and super like, if we don't follow it perfectly, then we've failed. That is not what this is about. This is all about being flexible, but just being very clear on what it is that we're doing. Let's just keep in mind that the 12-week year plan is just a framework. It is not something to live, sleep, and breathe by. It is just something that is kind of guiding us so that when we sit down to work on our goals, when we sit down to feel really motivated and excited to achieve that goal, we know exactly what it is that we're doing. All right, and my final tip number 5, is to break your tasks down daily. So I've already talked about how we are going to break our tasks down to be really detailed and specific week to week. But now I want to encourage you that as you are approaching that week, whatever week it might be, I like to do this on Sundays, but you can choose whatever day you do this. Maybe you do this on Friday evenings, right as you're about to wrap up the workday before the weekend hits, so that you have your next week planned, you can enjoy your weekend, and come Monday, you're ready to hit the ground running. However this works best for you, my tip is to pull out my 12-week year. I like to print mine, but you could also pull it up on your computer, and I will look through exactly what needs to get done that week based on what I put on that week of the tasks. So I will look through all of the tasks that need to be done, and then I will think, okay, what can I get done on Monday? And I'll plug that in on Monday in my planner. What can I get done on Tuesday? I will plug that in. What can I get done on Wednesday? I will plug that in. What can I get done on Thursday? I will plug that in. Fridays are my days with my niece. I don't do much work on Fridays, so I'm not gonna plug anything in on Friday. Weekends, it depends. If we have a busy weekend, I probably don't do much work towards my goals, but if it's a pretty chill weekend, I may do some work towards my goals. So this allows us to look weekly, again, removing the overwhelm of the full 12 weeks and just looking at the 1 week ahead, looking at the simple tasks that we have that are super clear, super specific, but are easily doable because we've taken the time to think about them. And now we're literally going to plug them in over the next 7 days and figure out when are those things going to get accomplished. By doing this, again, you are removing so much overwhelm. There is no analysis paralysis. There is no, when can I get this done? No, you know exactly when you're gonna get it done. If you're going out of town and on vacation, like the example I mentioned earlier, you're probably not gonna get much done. So you're gonna be realistic in taking those tasks and putting them in a different week or getting them done the week prior. You're gonna go ahead and get that taken care of. So, and if you have events coming up, if you have a weekend out of town, if you have a dinner event or whatever it might be, maybe you have ball games that you're going to, I don't know what it is, but keep all of that in mind, consider what your work schedule looks like, and then plug those things in based on when you actually have time to do them. The more specific in this case that you can be with your specific tasks, the better you will be. And that's it. I hope that these 5 tips have been super helpful for you. In the event that you have already done a 12-week year plan, I would love to know, how has it gone for you? Have you seen success with it? Have you achieved some of those loftier goals that you originally were planning on achieving over the course of the year and condensed, and because you took these steps and you really thought through, you were able to achieve them? Did you find, like me, that maybe you put a little too much on your plate? Or are you absolutely crushing it? Like, share all of that in the comments below. I would love to know how it's going for you. And I would love to know if these tips that I've just shared with you are some of the same findings that you've had, or if you have any other tips to give as someone who has now gone through at least one of your 12-week year plans or a couple of 12-week year plans at this point, and what your experience has been like, and any tips that you have to share so that we can all benefit from that. I know I have learned so much over the last 6 months of following these 12-week year plans, and I guarantee I will continue to learn more, but I'm excited to take these 5 tips in with me as I create my next 12-week year plan, which I will be doing in the next week or so, and really utilizing those to help fully support me and honor the life that I'm wanting to live right now, as well as the goal achievement that I have in mind. So in the event you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, make sure to do that. If you know anyone that's doing a 12-week year plan and you think they would benefit from this video, make sure to send it over to them. And otherwise, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you in the next video. See ya.